Hello there, welcome back everybody, I'm Chemic Trash and this is another speed draw. Today we're drawing 4 of my OCs. Currently you can see Greep, now you can see everybody else. Greep is a demon. She is functionally immortal. She will not die of old age, but she can die from injury. Beefy is a human who, when we first meet her, she is not altered in any way, but she does get protections given to her by gods because she might kind of marry a demigod. And she gets nepotism treatment, you know, as long as you know the right person you get treated right. She gets like things to protect her. But up until that point, she's a human who gets fairly easily injured, and she would die of old age under normal circumstances or severe injury. At this point, she's a little bit squishy and vulnerable, but she really doesn't care, and she will go fight whoever she has to protect the people she cares about. Moira was actually on the bad side originally with this person that they're fighting called Dylan, but Dylan is not someone who can maintain relationships and does a lot of things that push people away and make them hate her. She's technically our second villain in the story, but I'd say she's more like a secondary villain who can be reformed, unlike the primary villain, and down that is a lot of how parents raise you, how parents treat you, and Dylan was treated in a specific way that made her a specific way. And while that's sad and rough and people can understand that, not everybody in the story forgives her, and that's entirely by my choice. I'm one of those people who very much believes that no one owes you forgiveness just because you apologize. If someone is still hurt by your actions, they don't have to forgive you when you say sorry, and they don't have to forgive you when you ask. They don't have to. You have to accept that. And so Dylan's a kind of character to help me accept that, you know? It's a little bit of a reflecting yourself and your characters kind of thing. And that's a big thing in my story. But all my characters are much, much, much better people than I am. I say all my characters, the villains are terrible and they're worse. That's the point in a villain, basically. To oppose the neutral to not great people. Dylan is one of those who is a bit more, you can pull her back from the precipice of disaster, but she will have done so much damage before that it's kind of always going to be work to make people comfortable around her or to keep her away from the people she makes uncomfortable. Moira kind of takes that second group and just, she's not comfortable around Dylan. She doesn't want to be around her, to talk to her, to work with her beyond when she stopped working with her for big reasons. And so that's yeah, what's kind of going on with Dylan. She is a human, but she has been changed, altered, replicated, had a whole bunch of things done to her that mean that she does technically have a protection against damage and being beaten to death most of the time. In this scenario she doesn't though. She's just her flesh and bones, vulnerable to the axe, blade and magic crossbow it's pointed at her. But she is also very powerful compared to almost anybody else on this planet. Her alterations have given her an ability to control vibrations to a certain degree, and so she can do a lot of damage basically toing and throwing people. She can do a lot of damage harming people's ears. There's whole outfits they need to get to protect themselves from her. And so yeah, she's tough, but she's not the world's strongest person either. Even with her magic, there are other people with magical things that would be able to take her out. And in this case we have 3 people who are about to not take her out, but definitely incapacitate her for a while, as she has fought the good guys and Moira very intensely. And it's not really best to attract that kind of, you know, anger on yourself. But Dylan has no self-preservation. She does not think forward. She doesn't seem to understand the long-term consequences of her actions at first, and she really needs to have that trained into her by other characters. So, you know, before that, she's so careless and thoughtless about everyone else that nobody really likes her, and no one wants to take the time to do that. And that is kind of sad, but at the same time, a lot of this is her choice. She's been told by people around her this, even people on her side, like Moira was originally. And it just doesn't get through to her. And I think that's kind of a villain I'm interested in, is one who could be good, chooses to be bad, but isn't a crazy genocidal maniac that I just morally disagree with on everything that ever exists. She has her reasons for doing things, but a lot of them are very immature, but she has been kept intentionally very immature. And yeah, so this is where it leads you. Looking at the colours here, and I didn't really realise beforehand, but actually the colours don't go too badly together. Like, I thought that it was going to be a cluster of different colours, of different tones, but actually the three girls, like, who are fighting Dylan, being dark skinned and having a gold or orange or brownie colour on their clothes, kind of goes together. And then I feel like Moira's hair goes with Dylan's hair, and the pale parts of Beefy and Greep's outfit look quite a lot like the pale parts of hers. You know, just they're not too off-putting, but at the same as colours go. But Dylan pops out, and then I do a big pink thing to make her pop out a bit more. This won't stay pink though. And yeah, that's just to kind of separate her like robe and Beefy's hair, because they're both quite dark, especially as this one's just all black and the other isn't. And yeah, that's kind of worked. And because I had to put that in to make that more of a visible thing, I did reflection lights all over the place, and I chose that to be the highlights for all of the characters. Try and make the like light source the center of this magical blast, which I think would be really cool to look at if someone else rendered it like in a better way than I do. I think it's still alright for mine, but I need to get a little bit better making like the colours pop but not just look messy. That's something I'm really trying to figure out now. You might notice from me doing a lot of like blending instead of just leaving things this quite straight harsh way, but I'm not 100% sure really how good it looks, how enjoyable it is. But that's kind of a problem with this. Like I added up all the recording time so far, and it's like close to about 10 hours, and I think it's really hard to look at something for 10 hours and not overanalyze it, not see things being worse than they are, because you've seen it so many times and your brain's gone through this could be better this way. Like, I don't think this looks great, amazing, oh my god, it's the best start ever, it should get daily deviantation, but I do think this is pretty cool, especially for my work. But there's still things I would really like to work on and I'm still experimenting with, and getting to do that with this big blue light and then dark shading was a really fun way to do that. Characters have a lot of details, which is something I'm really going to have to make some, I was going to say commiserations, I can't remember what the word I'm looking for is. I'm going to have to accept some losses, is essentially what I'm trying to say. I'm going to have to accept that certain things are going to have to be simplified and not look quite right, which I think is going to be true of Moira's mouths, at least on her legs, wrists, which you can't see in this one, and ankles. But we'll get there, we'll figure that out when we get to it. There's no point stressing now. I've just been all my time stressing about that. I never do anything or move forward in any way, so I just think about it and then I'll log it for when I have the actual time to worry and work on it. Yeah, this was hopefully something you guys found pretty cool. There's a lot going on, I know, and this is probably quite fast to go through everything visually, but like I say, it's a very long recording sesh, and I just really, you know, don't have the words to talk for like an hour, half an hour over this, even though it's my art piece. I mean, try it yourself. It's quite hard to talk long term about something you're like, I like this because it's cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this one. Let me know what you guys think of my OCs and what you'd like to see of them. And I will let you guys know that you're probably right when you're criticizing me. No, that's not one to. Okay, right. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think of the finished piece that's going to show up in a moment. For the illustration of the characters, there is going to be another piece where I'm drawing, you know, big old background, which I never do, so you guys can see that soon. I never do, so you guys can see that soon.